Okay, so yeah, this is the first public glass bead game that I'm running, and I'll tell you guys about what it is. We're branding it as HoloChats, which is the hashtag HoloChats distributed conversation, where we have a weekly topic. Because this meeting got rescheduled from last week, I'm using the same topic as last week because I think it's a good topic for a first game. But I'm not sure if it's the current topic, but that's okay. So yeah, let's get started. I'll give a quick overview of what this game is, and then I will link, as I do that, let me link the befriendlement document so that anyone who hasn't seen it yet can take a look. Actually, can I ask who here has read at least part of the befriendlement document that I linked in the announcement?
Yeah, I've read that.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, me too.
Great.
I looked at it.
You look at it? Okay, great. I won't post the link then. But yeah, okay. Yeah, so then you're all aware of what we're doing then. We're just going to we'll get on metamaps in a second. Let me pull that up myself. Metamaps.cc. Have you all registered for an account on metamaps?
Yeah.
Yep. Has anyone not done that yet? Nope. Okay, cool. So let's make a new map for this week. And I'll call it Hello Chats GBG number 1, or maybe number 0. It's an eternal question. We'll do number 1. And here's the link to that in the Zoom chat. And let me make sure it's public. Yeah. Common. Should I do it public or commons, Robert?
Actually, probably commons is better. Then we don't need to request permissions, and you can change it to public after.
Cool. Okay, I will. Great. Christopher Barlow just showed up. Is that, oh, that's Flash. Cool. Have any of you had a chance to play around with metamaps yet? Robert is one of the creators of metamaps.
Oh, awesome. No, not really. I mean, I'm familiar with the mapping software idea, but I haven't seen metamaps as such.
Cool. Okay. Well, we'll slow down to go through some of the affordances of metamaps as we play, and if we have any questions, Robert is right here. I really like metamaps because it's. And by the way, I'm getting over a cold. Sorry if I'm talking a bit. Metamaps, I really like it because it's beautiful. It has a lot of really well-designed little, like cognitively useful features. And on top of that, it's the only mind mapping application I've ever used that doesn't lag my browser really badly. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, so why don't we go ahead and get started? We'll just be taking turns and putting some, go ahead and put nodes on the map at your own pace. But what we found worked well last time is starting by putting a node for ourselves. So let me show you guys how to do that. Has everyone arrived at the metamap that I linked to?
Yep. One thing, Anders, you might want to share your screen and show so that the visual of us using the map shows up in the recording.
Sure, good idea. Let me just, there we go. Okay. Cool. Can you all see my metamaps window?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, so there you see Robert has added a node for himself. I'm going to add mine too. And then you can link, and this is, then this makes it agent-centric. And you can link the other nodes that you add to your name so we can see who added what. And then we can also use it to cycle around in turns in a circle. Cool. So yeah, so we can, the fun thing about the glass bead game is you can kind of put whatever you want on your turn and nobody can stop you unless you use the rules to veto a card, but that doesn't even apply quite as much in this context. So even though the topic this week is application ideas and decentralized applications, you can kind of put whatever you want and open up the discussion if you want, if other people want to go with that line of reasoning or that conversational thread. Robert, do you want to take the first turn, and then we'll go from there in whatever order people put their nodes in. I wonder where my... Oh, I see.
I'm seeing lots of little circles with faces moving around the screen.
Yep, those are other people's cursors.
Yeah. Ah, that's a cursor. Ah, okay, cool. So
Yeah.
if I spin around, you see mine as well. Okay.
Yeah, I can see yours moving a lot.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so go ahead and click on the background, or sorry, double click, and then find the same icon that we're using, which is a person. It's called a person, and then type your name to create a node for yourself. And we'll just put them in a little circle so we can use that to take turns.
Wildcard, subject, question, note.
Yeah, and these are like the glyph sets that allow you to. These are the beads actually.
Yeah. So which type of glyph did you want to use? Because there's an action, a wildcard, subject, question, note.
Can you find the person one? Do you see the nodes for Robert, Best, and Anders on it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just make one like that for yourself, and then we'll have a kind of a game marker.
I don't have that option.
Oh, then click the switch metacodes, the little gear in the top left on the pop-up.
Ah, right.
Yeah, I have all of them enabled, so I went down to custom and then I selected all, or you can choose a set. All of the metacodes are available in any context. So if even if we're using different sets, they'll all show up in the same space.
Cool. Okay, cool. I got it. Person. Okay.
Cool. And just one sec, I'm going to pull up my map, and then I can import stuff. I can remember what to import from it.
Yeah, actually, I've placed a couple things. Somebody else, I think we can somewhat work in parallel. I don't know. That's up to Anders to say. But I said just a category of apps like communication. But then I remembered that there's this whole other map that I think is it Fally? I've never said it before, but I think I've seen him working on this map, so I brought it in as well as a node. Brainstorming holochain apps, which is already mathematic.
Cool. Oh yeah, and I should bring in the map.
One little note: if you see the little link, or not link, but like chain symbol in the upper left, it means that there's a link inside of the topic. And if you double click on any topic, it opens up like a card that shows more metadata. And then you can either open that link or see a description or other further info.
Cool. Hey, nobody else has added a node for themselves yet. Are you guys figuring that out okay? Oh, there's one.
I'm not actually seeing how to do anything.
Okay. Sorry, who said that?
Nels.
Nels, okay. You just double click on the background and it will pop up a little rotary dial.
Comes up.
Try refreshing. I would try refreshing a page. Sometimes the app gets a little buggy, but given that we're all doing this, what browser are you using?
Chrome.
Oh yeah. Try refreshing and see if it works.
Oh, I refreshed, and then a bunch of more things came up on the map.
Yeah. Now try double clicking, and does it work?
No.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that why or why not If you want, though, we can just sort of type in for you if you want to verbally say your turn or whatever.
Do you see my cursor moving around? Like I'm under the metamaps in the upper left right now?
Are you in Neo?
Right.
Yeah, we can see you moving around.
It doesn't do anything when I double click.
Anders, you're muted.
Nice. What operating system are you on, Nels?
Windows 10.
Weird. And you're in Chrome. Do you want to try it in a incognito window so that your plugins don't load? Maybe it's the plugins issue.
Could try that.
Yeah. Do you know how to open that with the Control-Shift-N?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I'm just going to spend a minute adding a couple more nodes while we're waiting for Nels to log in again. And then we'll start going around and talking about app ideas. By the way, I started developing a language to describe all possible applications, like a grammar. And I don't know, Robert, is there a way to import like the entire network that I built in this other map? Or should I just import the map?
I guess I was muted. There isn't a way of importing it while maintaining like the visual layout that you've done currently. So you might want to, if it's only a few, you might want to bring them in individually just by sort of starting to type each one.
You.
Oh, okay.
How do you link beads?
You hold Alt, and then you drag between them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, if you want, you can also describe the relationship. There should be an input box that pops up after, or you can just hit enter and leave it undescribed.
Not finding my grammar that I built.
If you can remember any of the nodes that were on the map, if you add it to this map, if you double click to open its topic card, there's a little symbol in the bottom of every topic card that shows all the different maps that it's on. So it can sort of help you remember.
Weird, I can't find it. Well, anyway, I remember what it was about. It was just a grammar. Cool. Okay, so Nels, did you get double click working?
Yeah.
Looks like Oh, great. Awesome. So maybe it was a plugin interaction with Chrome.
I guess.
Cool. Okay. Let's just go around. Robert, do you want to go first? Or maybe Nels, do you want to go first? Because you're after me, so then it won't be me going next.
What is going?
What?
What does it mean to go?
Oh, so yeah, so we're taking turns kind of like playing cards, and this is, we're still adjusting the game to the mind mapping context, but basically just tell us about some kind of idea you have in the realm of decentralized applications. It could be an app idea or like a big theoretical concept or anything you want, and then make a bead or a node that corresponds to that idea and connect it with your name.
Okay, so I had just been annoyed by the fact that Google Calendar is about to impose its new interface on everyone. And I felt like that was an opportunity to make a new version of Google Calendar that would run on Holochain that then would not impose changes on people arbitrarily.
Cool. Yeah. That's great. So yeah, go ahead and add a node for some type of Holochain-based calendar application.
So just like that.
Sure. Yeah, and then drag a line between your name and that while holding Alt.
If you're on Windows, you can also right-click and drag. It works as well.
Okay.
Cool. And we're gonna, after we do a couple rounds like this, we're gonna take time to build out and go into more detail on the ideas that people have played so far. Flash, do you want to go next? It's Christopher, right?
Yeah, Chris, Chris, Flash, whatever.
Okay, Chris.
So, yeah, I guess it was a question around some best ideas for how to build a Holochain community, particularly when you're somewhere quite remote to where all of the core dev is happening. And there's not much, well, very little knowledge or understanding of Holo down in New Zealand. So that's something I'm looking to try to grow.
Cool. Yeah, and I see you added CoinFlick too. I really like that idea.
Thanks. It's probably yeah. We'll get to that one next.
Yeah. Cool. Fally?
Yeah. So I'm curious about what would be possible in the realm of games. So I thought I would just add the gaming category at this point. So just go ahead. Okay. Gaming apps.
Cool. Cool, and then draw the line between your name and the gaming apps. This just helps us to see who played what.
Okay. How do you draw the line? I don't know.
Hold Alt and then drag between the two nodes.
What do I hold?
Alt, the Alt key.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I see it. Cool. Robert. Oh, and I never gave an overview of the Glassbead game because you've all read the befriendlement document. But if anyone wants me to talk about that or talk about Hermann Hesse's book or anything, let me know. It's a beautiful book.
Yeah, I've put that on my list. That looks really interesting.
And I have the audiobook. If any of you are on Telegram, I have the audiobook I can send.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll post my Here, I'll post my Telegram name in the chat.
Cool.
The chat.
Okay, well, I made another move. I think just an idea for sort of a simple distributed sort of offers and requests type application for a group to do that sort of thing and keep track of outstanding offers and requests and when they get fulfilled, etc. And each agent track that sort of thing on their chain.
Cool. I'm putting the map, which is not a specific app idea, but it's this website where you can track different app ideas. Have you all seen this before? If you click on the node, double click on the node, then you can click the link that's stored inside that node.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm working on some better documentation for this, and I want it to be a holochain app eventually, but right now it's one of the most comprehensive repositories of ideas for apps. Cool. Nellis?
Yeah.
Would you like to play another bead or expand on something that you, on what you played last time?
Well, another totally unrelated thing I've been interested in, it seems, my impression is that what you're trying to do here is kind of apply the same kind of systems theoretic insights that people are applying to like architecture of software and holochain to development of like software development organization. Is that true?
You mean in this game?
Yeah, and the other, yeah, this, just what you're doing here.
Yeah, except I'm not familiar with the framework that you just mentioned. But yeah, I think that's what I'm doing. That's one of the things I'm doing.
So maybe just something along the lines of, I don't know, distributed software development organization.
You said distributed, sorry, what?
Software development organization.
Cool. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, so just add a node for that.
Okay.
Cool. Vali,
Mm-hmm.
would you like to go?
Yeah. I'd like to build upon the offers request system nodes that were about put on the map.
Cool.
I came across a website today that's trying to build something in this direction, and I think the name is okay. I found it. It's a Karma Tribe. Yes. They do have a website. Hold on a second. Okay. Okay, I put the link in the description.
One little note, if you have a scroll wheel, if you scroll wheel click on any node that has a link inside, that's kind of a shortcut to opening the link in a new tab.
Cool, thanks.
Can you repeat it again, Robert, please?
Depending on what kind of mouse you have, if you have a scroll wheel that you can click in, if you scroll wheel click over top of any node, it'll open the link in a new tab.
Okay, thanks.
It's weird that I can't find my grammar that I made. Well. It's Robert's turn, right?
Yeah.
Cool. And by the way, we're gonna go into some more depth in a few more rounds. Like when people start running out of their first initial ideas, we'll choose a path to start going down in more depth.
Is it okay to link off to, like, between other people's ideas? I saw
sure.
Faley had a nice idea, and I thought, oh, I'll put something above it and then link it together.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I just added one. I was thinking it'd be neat to have a way to have a group sort of, maybe even something like GitHub, but have a group pool a bunch of data together for the purposes of sort of ecosystem mapping. So it's almost, well, I guess in a sense that's what we're doing here. So this tool is sort of facilitating that, but it's not distributed. So if metamaps existed on Holochain, maybe it would be a step in this direction. But something for collecting data, kind of like crowdsourcing data on whatever you want to map, whether it's organizations or apps or something like that.
Okay, it is my turn, I think. Yes. Here we go. I guess I'll add a node off the grammar of all possible app ideas to describe what that means. Basically, I started coming up with kind of a formal, I think they're called formal systems of how you can sequence meaningful glyphs to mean and refer to different app ideas. So you could potentially have like a way of formalizing any app idea. And one of the biggest sets of ways of describing apps is just to say, you know, the X of X, you know, the X of Y. It's like the Uber of this, the Airbnb of that. And that allows you to use existing apps as words in this grammar, and then expand out what they can mean by combining them in new ways. So that gets us with like a recombinatory logic of all of the existing apps, at least the ones that don't actually do something new. So if your app does something that's reducible to an existing app or an existing combination of apps, then it's describable with that kind of phrase. But some of the stuff that, for example, Robert just played, it seems like can't just be reduced to that phrasing. Nels, do you want to go?
I'll pass.
Okay. Fally?
Yeah, I will add a budgeting application, like a budgeting, like an app to build a budget.
What budget?
Yeah, which could account for different types of currencies beyond the conventional budget with just money debts. So for instance, I think that there's a network which is called the mutual aid networks, and I think they have something like something they name a robust budgeting, and they have a column for conventional currency, but they also have a column for complementary currencies and also time bank hours. And so I think their objective is to help people move to a pure market-based economy to a more gift-based economy. And I would like to see apps helping people make this kind of transition. So I think I'll make a link with the crowdfunding and offer request system, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I've just been making lots of ideas here. I haven't really been taking my turns as such. Is that okay within the game, or would it be preferred that we sort of wait to add stuff?
Yeah,
on your turn?
that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah, we're still like I said, still exploring the affordances of playing this with mind map, and so far it seems like it's a lot easier to do, to just kind of play asynchronously and just add ideas, and then use your turn to draw attention to one particular area.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's fine.
I feel like I haven't had a turn in a while.
Sorry, who's speaking?
That's Chris Flash.
Oh yeah. I think it's your turn right now.
Yeah, cool.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Cool.
Or did we just skip Fally?
No, didn't we just have Philly?
No, yeah, Fally.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I just went.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, it's your turn, Flash.
Cool. Well, I suppose I could talk about the board games. So I've branched off the gaming apps because I thought I've been thinking it'd be cool to have a board game or a card game. It's an interest of mine, which is based on these sorts of concepts. You know, broader than simply Holo or blockchain, but something that can help to even teach people about cryptocurrency, about crypto in general, about that maybe could be set in the future, where it's a society which is completely distributed governance. You know, maybe some Star Trek style universe or something like that. But it'd just be sort of fun to play and a fun way of introducing people and teaching people how this sort of society might work. That's it.
That's a great idea. Great. Robert?
I had some stuff to add, but for some reason, metamaps won't load for me anymore. I don't know if obviously something's going wrong on my end of things. If somebody else wants to add it, I was just going to mention game shifting, which is kind of a meta currency concept maybe some of you have heard of. And then also, I think
I'll add it for you.
this glass bead game itself sort of deserves to be on the map in the sort of game region.
Cool. I'll add those two while you're getting your computer working again.
Oh, and there should be a game shifting that exists already with like links and everything already filled in, but I don't know why it's not auto-filling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you guys can still see my screen. Yeah, it's not popping up. Game shifting. Game shifting. Here, I'll try refreshing. Uh-oh. It's metamaps down.
Maybe the real-time server is down and that's what's going on. I will try and see if somebody's available to look into what's going on.
Oh no. Okay. But yeah, we can catch up and add the nodes in a couple minutes. We'll keep talking.
The issues of centralization, eh?
Yeah.
Just bounce the server.
On my turn, I was going to. What was I going to put? I think I was going to pass. I was going to either add a pet app idea or just pass, because I'm excited to start diving into more depth on some of the things we've raised. Oh, actually, I played this. I played alternate reality games connected to the board games idea. I think that's really exciting. I like the idea of playing like a distributed board game that is set in the future after decentralized society already exists. That's a really fun idea. It's really mythic, and it'll be like a collective storytelling project of people defining what that would be like in the future, and then in defining it as a game, it starts to become actual through the logic of the software. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, there's definitely a disconnection in my map and what I'm seeing on your screen, Anders. I can't see the alternate reality node.
That's not how it's supposed to be.
I can see the cursors moving around, but I definitely can't see that when you just branch. And I've even made updates to some, and they're not showing up on your screen.
Yeah, it sounds like maybe the metamap server has crashed.
I might just jump out of this map, and I'll jump back in. We'll see what that does.
Yeah. Here, let me try opening a new tab. Yeah, it's not even refreshing for me. So I think
I can't get into metamaps now. It's sitting there waiting.
Crap. Well, there goes our glass bead game table.
Somebody, and Anders, don't close it, otherwise we won't have a view of what we've done. And I have contacted some of the more core devs to see if they can troubleshoot. I don't actually know what's wrong.
Okay. What should we do? Should we? Mine is still working, so we could play with just my screen, and I could add the pieces for people. Or in the past, we've also used Google Sheets and just done colored cards.
I reckon we continue with what we're looking at. I mean, we've got a map here.
Never mind, it's working again, I think. I bet it's working for everyone.
It's working for me now.
Yeah, it's back.
Great. Okay, great. Yeah, the one I just added didn't come up, so I'll re-add it. Where's perspective?
I think Connor, who's also working on Holochain, helped us. He's responded to my message. Maybe that's why it's working.
Awesome. Intention? I wanted the one that said perspective. Or maybe platform's fine, actually. There we go. I'm going to respond to this message really quick. I think someone wants to join us in this game. Okay, I think I passed, and Nels, would you like to go or pass? When everyone passes, we'll move on to the next part of the game where we go in more detail.
I'll pass.
Okay, and Fally, would you like to play something or pass?
Yeah, I will add something. On the gaming side, I will add Magic the Gathering, but with a
that's a good idea.
But with a question mark for me, because I've heard about it, but I haven't played it, so I'm curious about it.
Oh, it's a great game. It's actually a subset of the glass bead game with specific content, specific concrete content.
Okay.
Yeah. If you know, do you know Freud at all?
No, actually.
Okay. He uses a word. He wrote a whole essay about this word, Weltanschauung.
You mean Freud?
Yes.
The
psychologist.
The psychologist. Okay.
Yeah. So he wrote, and this word Weltanschauung means like a fantastic world or like a separate world. And Freud argued that art that constructs a fantasy world or a separate world is ultimately regressive because it like allows our drives to play out in an inconsequential space. Carl Jung would have argued that, in fact, we can grow through telling stories and through being in fantastic worlds. But in any case, Magic the Gathering is like a version of the glass bead game, but in a world that's removed. You know, it's about specific fantasy creatures that are hard to interpret allegorically.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. But it has a lot of similar dynamics. Like it has a stack where you take turns playing on a stack, and then the stack resolves in reverse order. And you take turns. You have phases on your turn. So it has a lot of rules that can be directly imported to a game like this.
Okay, sweet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thanks for the clarification.
Sure. Yeah, I love that game. So now it is, I think it's Flash's turn. Chris?
So coin flick, that is an idea I had. It's probably an idea which is not going to evolve until a bit later because it involves quite a few moving parts. But the idea was that using the holochain platform, enabling people to, in a physical space, to quickly and easily transfer crypto. So you might be in the street passing by a busker, for example, and you'll see on your smartphone using augmented reality that user's device showing up on your screen, and basically you can just select a coin and just flick it to them, and so you have to be there for them to receive it. It's not a way of transferring stuff remotely from person to person. It's about transferring crypto quickly and easily in the physical space. So literally flicking a coin.
Yeah, it's a really nice interface idea. And I see, Trey, you joined our call. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi, Trey.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome. Thanks for squeezing me in.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, this game is ultimately pretty asynchronous, so people can join during the call later on. It's okay. You can see on my screen the board that we're playing with, but I also posted the link in the chat, so you can click that. And if you've made an account on metamaps,
Don't wait on me if you want to continue.
Oh, no, it's okay. Let me get you an invite link so you can make a metamaps account, and then you can join the game board and add your own ideas. No problem. I'll just paste that in the same chat room you were just in, and I'll also paste it in the Zoom chat.
Okay.
If I can find it. There we go. Cool. So yeah, there's a join link, and then you can click the metamaps link to join our specific game.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, CoinFlip is a really interesting idea because it pulls together something that's really slow and difficult into an interface that's completely intuitive and easy.
Yeah, that's right. Because I think for many, the whole idea of crypto is a little bit nerdy in the negative sense of the word. It's not easy for people to interface with it. But if you can make it something more tangible, something that is easy to use, then I think it's just as you say, it's about the human interface.
Cool. Cool. Robert, do you want to go? And then maybe let's make this our last kind of initial round, and then we'll strategize a little more after your turn.
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of extend the game shifting thing, because we've been thinking about possibly making a game shifting sort of dashboard that would work in different contexts depending on the game you're playing. So I'll just extend game shifting with that. I sort of see metamaps as we're using it now as somewhat of a game dashboard. So, and it sort of relates to what we were saying, somebody added before about board games, where like you have a game or some sort of board that you're playing on, but obviously in the virtual realm, it's exists in a different sort of way. I think there's some interrelations there.
Yeah, I think that goes really deep, actually. Did you get registered, Trey?
Yeah, I'm on the page.
Oh, great. So go ahead and make yourself a node, like the orange ones that we have with our names on it. So I'll make a space for you in the bottom left here. And you just double click the background and then type your name.
Okay.
To make a node for your name. And then I think the default icon set doesn't have the little icon we used. So you can click the setting gear and it will pop up a window. And then you can choose a different icon set It's a lot of steps at once, sorry.
Or
That's
now
okay.
that you've already created it, there's an alternate way. If you
Yeah.
double click
Oh,
on
yeah.
the already created,
Okay.
you'll see this symbol for that node on the top left. If you click the down chevron, you have a whole set that you can choose from.
Yeah.
Okay.
So under all,
And
there's
find
a
that-
person type.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, these are the beads.
Sweet. So I can pick from any of these.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're really well-designed icons, too.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you know, Robert is one of the two main creators of this app, I think. Right? Is there a third main creator, Robert? You and Connor and...
Well, there's two, I guess you'd say, co-founders before I joined up, and then there's 2 or 3 others. So I'd say the core team is maybe about 5 right now.
Oh,
Cool.
okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is another one of those slow-moving, volunteer-based open source projects, and we sort of have hopes on building this on top of Holochain at some point too, but we'll see when there's time for what. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you definitely should. In fact, I was imagining like if this game board were ringed by our faces on the video call, that would be really cool. It'd be like a shared space of a game board.
Well, technically there's audio video built in where each of our webcams appear as portals on the actual map, but I would advise against trying to do that at this point because we'll probably have webcam problems between Zoom and the map. But maybe another time you can test it out. If you notice on the side of the map, there's that little symbol. If you click it, there's actually a text chat that's associated to every map. And within there is the interface in order to start like a webcam call on the actual map. But a lot of this is kind of a prototype and very buggy, and as we've all seen, it sort of failed us once already a little bit, but it's kind of, I'd say, a pretty cool concept in general, just a little buggy.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really nice. Okay, so Trey, you haven't taken a turn yet. So Robert, you just added, what did you just add, Robert? Oh yeah, more detail on game shifting. And Trey, since you haven't taken a turn yet, would you like to take one or more turns right now? And we're just talking about decentralized app ideas. And you can talk about, a specific app idea or like a theoretical concept or anything related to distributed apps.
Okay, so just talk about it and then see how it fits or see.
Yeah, and add a node to mark your idea and then connect it to your name.
Okay, I see. Okay. Thank you for being patient, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, the big thing for me is, because I come from education and I come from personal growth and development, and so one of the things that we have been working on for the last 6 to 10 years has been what's called scaffolding language. So in other words, it's how the brain works to learn and how the brain closes off from opening up to perception and opens up to perception, and how we can actually use language to assist that process along. So in terms of that, so I would double click on my name, or I would create another node.
On the background. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just call it scaffolding language for now. And I give it a different symbol. This is fun already.
Yeah.
Okay. General purpose. Ooh, I like that one. So is there a particular, can someone explain to me what you mean by good practice?
Who said good practice?
Oh, you probably mean the node type. We call them metacodes. So a lot of them aren't kind of strictly defined, and sometimes we don't even bother worrying about kind of what word it says. If you like the glyph and the imagery, just go ahead and use it.
Okay.
And sometimes it's just to visually distinguish with the colors. So I wouldn't get too stuck up on like choosing words.
Okay.
Actually, sometimes it's quicker as well to just choose a random code just to get the words on the page and then change it after to something more appropriate or something.
Got it.
Don't get stuck on choosing a code.
Okay, cool. I can do that. So I'm going to go with that one.
Nice.
Okay.
And then to make a link, hold Alt and then drag between the two nodes. So drag from your name to scaffolding language, or vice versa if you want.
Okay. All right. I'm on a Mac.
So Option then.
Okay, thank you. From my name to
your node, scaffolding language.
there you go. Done.
Cool. Hasn't shown up yet for me. Did you make a link on yours?
Yep.
Oh, there it goes. Yeah. Cool. Nice. I think we should move on to the round where we start to strategize our conversation, because this whole game is about like the meta of a conversation kind of. But before we do that, Trey, do you want to take another turn or two since you're just joining us?
Okay.
If you want to elaborate on an idea or add a totally separate idea or anything else.
Actually, let's just move on to the next piece so that I can see how the whole strategizing thing goes. I can the next game I can then I have a sense of what I'm thinking of, because there's too many things and I don't want to delay the game.
No problem. Okay.
Okay.
And yeah, and we're still going to be adding more nodes going forward, so that's
okay.
fine.
Cool.
Okay, so by the way, Trey, did you have a chance to look at the befriendlement document?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Cool. So in the more formal rules where we're playing with cards, and so there's a kind of formal stack of cards. The next part, we would take turns kind of choosing what we want to prioritize as a topic of conversation. But in this more just kind of 2D field where everything is spread out, I think we can save a lot of time by doing it more informally. So I think why don't we just go around one time and just point out one or two or three nodes that seem like the most interesting conversation to you and where you want to bring everyone's attention. And then we'll kind of negotiate that way and then go down a conversational path or two or three over the next hour and spend some more time in more detail.
Okay.
Does that sound okay, everyone?
Yep.
Yeah. There was one other neat thought I had, because we're all just learning this on the fly, the affordances of the metamaps for it. If everyone's pointer's working, we can also consider just pointing at the thing that we want to talk about, and then we can see where kind of things coalesce in terms of who wants to talk about what prioritized.
Cool. We can also move things around too. Let's see. I'm especially interested in talking about alternate reality games and this board game that takes place in the future. There was one more. And I'm also especially interested in talking about a distributed software dev organization. And of course, me and Trey, this is the first time we've met on a call, but I think we might end up collaborating on some language-related apps, so I'm definitely interested in that too. But that might be an interest we share more, so I don't want to dominate the shared space with that, unless everyone is also interested in that. But yeah, those are three for me over here.
Yeah, I second the alternate reality game. Definitely. Might not be able to stay on the call for terribly much longer, guys, but I'll just jump out when I need to.
Okay. Who else has a suggestion of a topic to go into more detail on?
Yeah, I'm interested in hearing more about the education aspect, actually.
Did you say addiction?
Education, sorry.
Oh, education, sorry.
Yeah.
Whose is the educational game, the Wikipedia one?
I added some of it in just to sort of draw some more connections.
Ah, okay.
And definitely I'm interested in like game-based learning or educational games. So I think it's a nice intersection. So that's also where my vote would be, somewhere in this region.
Okay.
Actually, I guess one piece that we've lost that worked nicely on the spreadsheet version, Anders, is that you have like a more linear prioritized list.
Yeah. I think eventually what we'd want is some type of prioritization overlay that kind of highlights nodes and maybe highlights them in different colors or different intensities. And then you can kind of have another dimension that way. Then it becomes a node processor.
Can someone explain game shifting to me?
That's Robert's node. You're muted, Robert. You want to explain it? Or I could.
Sure, yeah. Sorry. There's a link inside that node. If you double click on it, you can see the link. So it'll probably go in more depth than I can right now. But
okay.
It's kind of a group facilitation idea or tool where we decide as a group what game we're playing together. And then within that game, there's different rules about kind of the conversation and how it rolls out. Maybe it's popcorn style, or maybe it's turn taking, or maybe it's and this has been used in another project sort of under the umbrella of metacurrency called the Agile Learning Centers. And actually, so I encountered this through Art Brock and some of the other metacurrency people like Eric Harris Brown, and actually the whole metamaps team went to their social enterprise incubator thing in 2013. So that's how I bumped up against this.
Oh, there you go.
And everybody holds kind of a board, which can be like a physical magnet board, and on it you can give different you can make explicit different things, such as your level of energy maybe, or how focused you are, so that you're reflecting back to the speaker kind of I don't know, live feedback in terms of like how things are going, or and it's just explicit the rules of the group conversation that everybody's playing within. And there's different roles occasionally depending on the game. So sometimes will be a game master who can sort of there'd be almost like a game board where like everybody can look at, and it shows. So if you scroll down on that page, you'll see different game shifting boards where it shows, okay, this is the current game, this is the current rule set of the game, such as like hand raising maybe to speak, or different
great.
Yeah, so it's just a way of making explicit kind of for group conversation or meetings or anything like that. So my idea here is that it'd be neat to kind of bring this into the virtual realm as well, and that we could have digital dashboards for doing similar things while on virtual calls.
Fun.
Groovy.
Yeah, game shifting is actually really similar to the glass bead game, especially if you're playing with paper cards, because you end up, like, if you want to make a move or if you want to design a new kind of move, you can write it on a card. And so whatever people are doing, you can kind of call them out on it by formalizing it as a card. And then that's kind of what game shifting is taking what the things people are already doing and then making them visible on a board or on some kind of visual aid.
Cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that.
Cool. Okay, so it sounds like we have some interest in talking about alternate reality games. Anyone want to propose something up against that as an alternative? Because that one had 2 people mention it, and I think everything else had one person mention it. Or should we move towards talking about that for a little while?
I'm keen to expand on the ARG concept.
Cool. Yeah, me too. I have a ton to talk about in this topic. And actually, to that end, maybe we can not do formal turns so much, except to make sure everyone is being included and having a chance to speak. And just, start having a conversation. We've got 50 minutes left. Or sorry, I forgot. It's an hour and a half scheduled, so we have about 20 minutes left. And the video room will be open for 35 more minutes before it automatically ends. So yeah, I have a ton of ideas I could say about alternate reality games. I can start bringing in some of my nodes, but I want to hear your ideas. So let's pull this out. New topic over here.
When you talk about alternate reality, are you just speaking specifically about that, or are we including things like virtual reality, mixed reality, the whole bag? Like,
alternate reality games refers to games that construct a parallel story reality.
Parallel universe, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like augmented reality might be a way to implement an alternate reality game, but that's kind of separate.
Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you. What kind of alternate reality games are there out there that are based upon cooperation and collaboration, where you actually move through and advance through the game based upon the extent to which someone behaves or engages cooperatively or collaboratively with the other players in the game?
Well, there are games like Pokemon Go or Ingress, but those are relatively light on the story and the alternate reality, and they have more of the augmented reality.
Yes.
I'm actually not aware of that many specific alternate reality games that have been successful. Does anyone know of a resource where there are some listed?
I don't know, because I don't know if I fully grasped the exact meaning of alternate reality game, but what first came to mind was something like World of Warcraft, which people have said, well, this also relates to education and sort of co-learning. They've said that the pinnacle of learning teams are the teams that play on these games, because when they drop new kind of levels and get quests and stuff like that, these learning teams come together and chew through these new complex problems pretty magically almost.
My understanding is that World of Warcraft is not so much an ARG. ARGs are, insofar as it bleeds into people's life, it's an ARG. But ARGs are like these storytelling games that kind of take over your life and change how you think about what reality is. So people could play World of Warcraft as an ARG if they kind of involve themselves in the myth of either the game world or kind of the meta myth of World of Warcraft players.
So you have to be involved in the storytelling yourself for it to be.
Yeah, you have to participate in like construction of an alternate lived experience reality. Yeah, so I linked to a list of ARGs on Wikipedia, and you guys can see my screen. So, like Ong's Hat was a game that was just like a small file passed around on message boards, and it contained a list of a bunch of books like The Holographic Universe, Chaos, and a bunch of other of those kind of popular weird mathematics books. And it had this myth that players read, and they got pulled into this weird story about the development of chaos theory and aliens and all these things that might have been kind of real. The Beast was a really famous ARG that was actually, unfortunately, just advertising Xbox. But it had these really exciting things happen, like people would walk by payphones in public and the payphones would ring, and so then they would pick up the phone and then someone would read a obscure code to them, and then they would have to go on the internet and figure out what the code meant. Oh, that might have been I Love Bees, actually.
That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. Yeah.
Like that's what ARGs are like.
That kind of brings to mind what you were saying earlier, that you make these almost abstract alternate realities in the real world, and that can actually bring to bear something real.
Exactly. Like in fact, you could even say that like Trump being elected was a massive alternate reality game that people were playing on the internet that then produced this real world effect. People were playing this game as if they wanted to get him to be elected when they probably didn't actually. And then the actions they took in the game ended up creating that reality. Another example is Slender Man. The legend or the myth of Slender Man has gone from being just a creepy story told on the internet to something that people are making videos about. People are trying to, quote, like discover the secret of Slender Man as if it's a real discoverable piece of knowledge. And people are making TV shows, and there has been there's been an actual murder. I think she died because two girls like stabbed one of their friends because of Slender Man, according to them. They became like obsessed and entranced by this story. So these games are very serious, actually.
Yeah, so that's when it can go pear-shaped.
Can go what?
Pear-shaped.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can tell by Trey's facial expression she's not impressed by.
Well, I'm just like, wow, the shit I don't hear about, pardon me, but seriously. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, what it just demonstrates is it demonstrates the power of it. So how do you harness that power for good, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's really what it comes down to. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually really, really, really excited about this topic, and I have an enormous amount I could say or post. But let me just say a tiny bit. There's one word that's really important is hyperstition. And this word is, things that make themselves real. So ideas that make themselves real, stories that make themselves real. Like the Willy Wonka candy is a good example, because first Roald Dahl wrote the book and it was purely fictional, but then it became popular and it became a movie, and then they actually started making the candy. So this candy came out of the book, but where did the idea come from for Roald Dahl? So where did the candy really come from? The candy came from nowhere. The candy came from God. The candy came from itself. The candy just like came out from the side. It came in from the side. So when we tell this type of story, this type of hyperstition, we might not be creating this myth ourselves. There's like another hand involved, the hand of reality, or the hand of the outside, or the hand of some type of narrative force in the universe, or scientific force that selects what gets propagated and what doesn't get propagated, that influences the story. There's Keck also, like the hyperstitious god involved with Trump's election, that was like hyperstitiously created by linking together a bunch of miscellaneous facts and myths, and then it became a powerful force of hyperstition. I'm working on a game called Ben Frank, the irresistible game of U.S. currency devaluation. And this is a game where you're playing the glass bead game, and it's a game added on top of that, where whenever someone copies one of your cards, you give them a coin, one of your coins. So like the worst players, the newest players who don't have a collection of their favorite cards yet, are encouraged to copy cards from you. And so the people who have a lot of good cards will presumably also have good ideas. And so they'll be pulling in income from, like, monetary income from other places in their life. So they'll be able to give away their coins. So this accelerates like the redistribution of wealth from the people who have the best ideas to the people who haven't begun organizing their ideas yet. And it would actually eventually normalize currencies in a strange way across different currencies. Cool. Who hasn't spoken in a while? Anyone want to add some more to this topic?
Yeah, so I guess we can imagine games with totally different economic systems than the one we are currently living in. So, for instance, we could simulate a gift economy in a alternate reality game, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Or does it exist maybe already?
Not that I know of. Yeah, related to that, I think I'm going to add this node, Transversal Language.
There's something, Gary. Say hello.
What?
Say hello.
Transversal language, this way of speaking across like the subject-object split, so that you asked if there's like a gift economy game that already exists. I could say something like, like we're always playing a game where every action we take is an act within the gift economy. Mm-hmm. And that kind of like changes your perspective a little bit on the physical world around you.
You want to listen to it?
Mm-hmm.
I just
mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking, because if we want to teach people to play nicer in the sandbox, so to speak, if there was a way to set up an environment where you were rewarded for the more diverse the group, like as the group, like different stakeholders from really different walks of life coming together around a table to make something happen. not that it has to be a table, but you know, coming into the circle to make it happen. And learning that skill. You know, you have a certain conversation, or there's a conflict at the table, or there's, you know, and how do you actually learn how to navigate that space? There's something about that it really intrigues me, if in terms of turning that alternate reality into something that is a skill for good.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
that intrigues me a lot, actually. Yeah.
Cool. Do you want to add that as a note so we can remember it?
Sure. I can.
Yeah, and that actually is kind of connected to what I was about to add, which is this chart. So yeah, using transversal language and telling a hyperstitious narrative, I can say, like, we all might already be playing a game that we don't fully realize we're playing yet. And I've tried to map out the stages of this game in this chart. I'm holoing, by the way. Don't tell anyone. Can you still see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little tiny. Let me see if I can zoom in. Yeah. Oops, too big. There. Yeah, so there are these meta organizations, and they I've tried to put them in stages here. So Holo the organization is a class 2 meta organization on its way to becoming a class 3 meta organization. So that means you see our global ops development is sparse. Our source of capital is crowdfunding that we did previously. Our primary artifact produced is holochain technology, or distributed app technology in general. The holographic organizational design is repressed to function as a normal currency-bearing organization. So we're pretending we're a normal organization, but actually we're moving towards being some kind of unusual kind of organization. And our description is, we describe ourselves as like an upright, pro-social organization implementing disruptive advancements in decentralized finance. But once we saturate this stage, our organizational effects will start to upgrade. And so once we actually have holochain technology, the next game that starts is basically, I call it Holo Salesforce, where it's all about taking the innovations that are created throughout the network and spreading those out and replicating those out to the edges of the network as quickly as possible. So we become this enormous like network marketing, fully decentralized network marketing movement, kind of like Amway or something like that, but without the centralization that makes those things really evil. And so in a class 3 meta organization, it's all about replicating out the best features that people come up with. And what's produced to produce the stage after that is new kinds of ways of organizing people together, or like helper tools, I call them. So like new forms of new social forms that help people, new modes of relation. These would be the offers and bounties, new ways of describing offers, new grammars of making offers. But once we saturate the world with that, once this technology there's a whole bunch of new social forms that are really productive and they are producing abundance. Excuse me. Then what happens after that is we start to put these helper tools together into these hyperstitious alternate reality games. So we start to plug these helper tools together and form like giant games and giant realms of social life that people can join in. And once we saturate the world with that, then the next game after that is onboarding everyone else. So after we have everything we need, after we have games, after our life is already abundance-based and post-capitalist, then the only thing left to do is to like make fun games for everyone who is not yet in that stage of post-capitalist abundance living. So this is like a kind of a map of the game going forward.
Wow, dude. You're blowing my mind.
That's cool.
Cool. Thank you.
So, just to recap on that, so where was that one branched off? Like that whole discussion about the levels of organization and everything?
Right here, meta organization chart. Yeah.
That is so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been putting together pieces of myth, and it all plugs into the glass bead game. So the people who are in the D.O.G.E, the Decentralized Organizing Games Effort or Experience, D.O.G.E, those are people who have played at least one glass bead game with me, since I'm doing it as agent-centric, or I guess one of the other members of the D.O.G.E. They have read the befriendlement document all the way through. They have registered in the players table, and they have a specific location where they keep their personal deck. And so in the context of ARGs, the people who have a deck are called deckers, and they're actually cyborg humans. So they keep a personal deck of their favorite upgrades in their deck, and then they trade them amongst themselves. And so this creates this economy of ideas, or this economy of kind of like personal upgrades or resources that are copyable, that it allows the deckers to radically accelerate and outperform most other types of social organization without any hierarchy. And so just through their sheer like productivity of convincing ideas and useful ideas, they start to determine the culture of the rest of the organization. And that's actually kind of what these meetings are about. This is the public D.O.G.E game, and then there right now are 4 people who've passed through that membrane and are in the inner circle of D.O.G.E. And anyone is welcome to join that group. And we will have a weekly private game as well, where we trade like our best cards and prepare for these public meetings.
Do you have, are those games scheduled at any particular time?
Not yet. I think I'm going to try and have them on Mondays, the inner circle games. So far we've had one.
So would that be a Monday evening thing in your time zone?
I think so, yeah.
Yes, this juggling the time zones is going to be a challenge, because that's like that line of thinking is something that really interests me as well. I'd really like to be involved in that in some way. And I'm in New Zealand, so it's 8:30 in the morning on Saturday for me. So however we can make that work, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'd love to have you there. Yeah, just if you complete those 4 requirements, I'll add you to the D.O.G.E level 1 chat room, which is like Glassbead game level 2.
I think I'm already there.
Oh, cool. Oh no, that's you're in the private but like open entry one, and there's a level 2 chat room, or kind of level 1 of the inner circle.
I'm in the lobby.
Yeah, you're in the lobby. Yeah, and then if you do those 4 requirements, I'll add you to the next one up, which is the highest one right now with 4 people in it. Yeah, and it's just just basic familiarity with the rules is basically the requirement. And then
fair enough.
Yeah, and then those games are really fun because those people are like dedicated glass bead game players, and so the game becomes ruled more by these strategic ideas and etiquette and like what project we're actually using the game to talk about and work on. So it starts to pull us into this like hyperstitious alternate reality game realm.
Yeah, I think gamification, I think it's become a very interesting topic of this game today, and I think that's going to be a huge enabler for this going forward.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It's been really fun so far, and we're just running out of time, so we'll wrap up in just a second. One more thing I wanted to mention. This is my website, and this paper here, I wrote a 10-page paper, The Real Shield, Why You Should Be Watching Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and using it as a holochain playbook. So like basically my thesis of that paper is that Holo is the real Shield, and it's this like global coalescing decentralized platform, which is represented by the plane, their headquarters airplane and Shield, and like its various departments in color coded, like locked together. So like, yeah, you can like take different TV shows and take different ideas and find allegories between them and plug them together until you build this gigantic meta myth that plugs quite directly into how this game is played. So I'm really excited to keep playing this game every week with you guys, and I hope to see you all next week.
Thanks very much. This has been awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Any final?
Yeah.
It was really fun.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Any final comments from anyone before I stop the recording?
I look forward to the next one.
I love the dynamic of the visual as the ideas are being generated and the connecting of the dots. Like that's just, it's mind map in real time between multiple individuals on steroids, and I like it.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing I wish that worked a little bit better, and I think it's just the format and also this being the first game, is I wish we like kind of dove into topics a little bit more and opened them up. But I think that if we just keep playing multiple games, we'll have time to do that more and just go into topics in more detail. Mostly today we were just touching on topics.
A new map from scratch every week? Or do we jump off of a previous map?
I don't know. That might be Robert, do you want to answer that?
Well, one idea that Anders has shared with me is that as these glass bead game players, we're sort of accumulating our own deck that we like to bring around to different games. So definitely curate from this map onto maybe your own personal map or something, certain ones that you know you're going to want to bring up again later.
Right.
Okay.
How metamaps works is these nodes don't just exist on this map. They exist in more of a global knowledge base type map, almost like a Wikipedia in a sense.
Okay.
So if you double click and start typing a node you already know exists, you get, as you can see on Ender's screen, a suggestion of what already exists. So you can pull nodes from other maps into new maps. And so yeah, I'd say definitely we will be replaying old beads or old nodes or whatever we're calling them in next games. But I also like the idea that if we get the same group of people together, we can just continue on where we left off, or invite new people in too. So I think it works both ways.
Okay.
Okay. One last final thing from me. You mentioned building your own deck from these nodes. How would you go about doing that in metamaps?
This is what I'm doing right now. So just make a new map and set the privacy to, I think, public. And then, or private if you want it to not be visible. Yeah. And then, as Robert was just saying, you can
start typing and adding them in.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just adding a few nodes that I made that I frequently refer to these concepts. So it'll be nice to have them in my own collection here.
Cool.
There it is.
Sweet.
Yeah. The other thing
so I'm going to spend 10 minutes after this call finishing this.
If you like most of the nodes on this map, or if it makes more sense to start with what we've already got instead of starting from fresh, if you notice in the upper right corner of the interface, there's a little fork symbol. So you can fork this whole map into a new map and then kind of prune it down to be only the nodes that you want, if that makes more sense. There's also in the import data button, it's kind of counterintuitive, but in the import section, there's actually an export section. So you can export all of this to a spreadsheet if you like. And then that will be a means for importing later as well if it makes more sense to import a bunch of nodes into a map. So each of these nodes technically has like a universal ID number just based on the chronological order that they were created in. So that's kind of, each node has a number and each map has a number. So that's kind of how we refer to them, I guess, on the back end of everything.
That's actually great because, having come in a little bit late, I want to have some time to really like digest this one and read the different points. So thank you for that. That's great.
Awesome.
All right, nice one, guys. I'm gonna shoot off, but thanks again, and I look forward to the next one.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I'm going to stop the recording.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thank you.